Hey everyone, it's raining outside and I don't feel like being outside getting rained on. So today I'd like to experiment with ChatGPT. You may have heard about ChatGPT on the news. There's either excitement or fear over it. People are getting medical advice, law advice, kids are doing homework through ChatGPT. What is ChatGPT? Well, it's an artificial intelligence. It's gonna take over the world. Next year, Terminators will be taken over. But today, I wanna see if ChatGPT can actually help us improve our running performance. This is actually a free program that I'm using. Just Google ChatGPT, sign up for ChatGPT, and you can get advice by ChatGPT. So let's get to it. Let's see what ChatGPT can do. So first of all, let me ask ChatGPT how ChatGPT can help me improve my running performance. So it seems like it gives me 5 ways it can help me. It can build training plans. It looks like it can give nutrition tips, injury prevention, motivation and inspiration. And of course you could track your progress. That would be interesting. How do you track your progress? I guess I could just give it information about myself and it'll track it the way it does. So let's go with, can you give me a training plan for a 5K? Sure can. It has a basic plan for a 5K. It gives us a 7-week training plan. And it does give you a note that this is just a basic plan and you may need to adjust it according to your fitness level. All right, let's get a little bit more complicated. What about a marathon plan? What about a plan for a marathon? This is one good thing about ChatGPT. You could just continue the conversation. Well, definitely has a 16-week marathon plan. Just basic information on how to train. This only gives me week 10 though. That's weird. It says 16 week. Here's a sample 16-week marathon plan, but it stops at week 10. So that's not good. I don't know why that stopped at week 10. So let's go for the 100-mile race. So my real interest is that I actually do have my first 100-mile race coming up in August. Well, I guess 24 hours, but the goal is to do a 100-mile race. And then I got another 100-mile race. And I don't think I'm really ready at this point right now at it, but let's ask ChatGPT to give me a 100-mile race plan. Here's a sample 24-week training plan. So does it go all the way to 24 weeks? No. So the sample training plans stop at 10 weeks. All right, so now I'm gonna try to customize it a little bit to what I want to do. So that was a 24-week. Well, give me a 100-mile 16-week plan for someone who already does a 40 to 50-mile week. So that's literally where I am right now, doing about 40 to 50 miles a week, which is way below where I should be doing. But let's check it out. If you're already running 40 to 50 miles per week and have some experience with long distance running, you might be able to tackle a 100-mile race with 16 weeks. Let's see if it gives me the whole 16-week running plan. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12? Where's the 16? It went to the 12 week. It's not going all the way to the 16. All right. Well, let's go for a 24-week plan. So the 24-week plan is kind of interesting. It says week 1 through 6. For the first 6 weeks, it's exactly the same. Then for the next 6 weeks, week 7 to 12, it changes up a little bit. It increases a little bit in mileage. And then weeks 13 to 18, it changes up again with the increase in mileage. And then 19 to 24 weeks. Now it goes beyond the 24 week. It's going all the way to week 36. 42, week 48, 54, it went out of control. At one point, it wants me to do 28 miles with some hills. It wants me to do 30 miles the next day, 28 miles with some hills, then 30 miles at an easy pace, and then 55. That's insane amount of mileage in a row. Talk about overuse injuries. I don't know about you guys, but that seems a lot of miles in 1 week. Maybe I'm not seeing something here. If you guys have a different experience with this, hey, place a comment right below here. All right, one of the things that could help me is with nutrition. What do you, ChatGPT, recommend for nutrition for a 100-mile race? For hydration, I should be drinking 16 to 20 ounces of fluids every hour. Okay, I've heard of that before. That's not a bad advice. Consume carbohydrates, easily digestible, such as gel, sports drinks, bananas, and energy. I know people do that. Myself, I always just like eating actual food like peanut butter. But then it says it gives you protein such as nuts, jerky, protein bars. That's good too. You have sodium. Your sweat is lost during the race, so you can cause decrease in sodium levels. Consume some sodium rich. That's interesting. Avoid consuming high fiber foods as they may cause gastrointestinal distress. Opt for easily digestible, such as white bread, pasta, and fruit. I don't know about pasta. I feel like pasta would be a little bit too heavy on a long run. But I guess I see with the fiber piece of it. Too much fiber is gonna cause a little bit of diarrhea. Maybe. Don't want to risk that on 100 miles. I hope not, right? Don't want to go poopies too much. Maybe a little bit, but not that much. You want to finish the race eventually. So that's good. Pre-race meal. Eat a carbohydrate-rich meal before the race to fuel your body and avoid low blood sugars. You know, the nutritional advice is fairly sound. I would recommend you guys experimenting with this piece, seeing all the different types of questions you could ask within the nutrition, and then share with us in the comment section. Ask ChatGPT based on your experience. You could ask, for example, last time I ate cookies and I had diarrhea. What would you suggest on my next run? Yeah, maybe that's a great question. ChatGPT said it could also give tips on preventing injury. So how do I prevent injury when training for a 100-mile race? Again, it kind of gives a basic average response. Gradual training, strength training, cross training, rest and recovery, proper footwear, proper nutrition, hydration, sleep are crucial to injury prevention. And of course, maybe ChatGPT covers itself. It says, seek professional advice. Work with a coach or sports medicine professional. No, ChatGPT, I don't want to work with those guys. You're my coach. I want you to be my medical professional, sir. That's the whole point. I guess they want to avoid lawsuits. That makes sense. Remember, the key to preventing injuries during training for a 100-mile race is to be consistent with your training. Listen to your body and make adjustments as needed to avoid overuse injuries. Well, that's kind of like common sense, but I always say, sometimes common sense is not so common. All right, now let's get into the fun stuff. Give me a motivation and inspiration to complete a 100-mile race. Come on, ChatGPT, give me some motivation! Remember why you started. Take a moment to reflect on the reasons why you decided to take this challenge. Perhaps it's to prove yourself that you're capable of achieving something incredible, or raise awareness for a cause that's important to you. Whatever your reason, keep it in mind as you train and race. Break it down into smaller goals. The thought of running 100 miles can be overwhelming. Instead, break it down into smaller goals, achievable goals. Focus on getting through the next mile on the next checkpoint rather than the entire race. That's actually sound advice. I've heard that a lot. Anything that's really extreme endurance or anything extreme physical, just live in that moment. Be in that moment. I'm living in this moment right now. Don't focus on the end goal. Focus on the now goal. Yes, that's good advice. Surround yourself with support. Surround yourself with friends, family, fellow runners who will support you and encourage you throughout your training and race itself. Celebrate the small victories. Embrace the challenge. Visualize success. Remember, completing a 100-mile race is an incredible accomplishment. I know! I'm gonna try to do it. I've never done it, not even close. Dedication and mental toughness. Believe in yourself. Stay focused. Keep pushing towards your goal. You got this! Thank you, ChatGPT. Thank you. All right, well, ChatGPT says it can track my running progress. I'm gonna give it some stats from last month of March, right here. Boop. And here we go. Last month I ran 27 hours, 160.1 miles, and had 10,200 elevation gain. Where do I need to be ready for the 100-mile race in 4 months? Well, based on your month's running rate, it seems like you were well on your way to being prepared for a 100-mile race. Oh, thanks. Thanks, ChatGPT. Looks like I'm well prepared here. Well, to help prepare for a 100-mile race, you may want to consider increasing your weekly mileage gradually over the next 4 months. All right, I guess I'll start gradually increasing my mileage. It's also important to incorporate long runs and back-to-back runs into your training plans. Oh, thanks. I've never heard that one before. Overall, it's difficult. Oh, yeah, I know it's difficult. It's say exactly where you need to be in terms of mileage and training to be ready for the 100-mile race in 4 months, as everyone's training needs and abilities are unique. However, continue to gradually increase your mileage and incorporating well-rounded. All right, let me get it a little bit better. Can you give me a training plan based on my stats? Let's get a training plan for this. All right, here we go. We got a training plan. We got some numbers going here. 1, gradually increase your weekly mileage. If you're currently running around 40 to 50 miles per week, you may want to aim gradually increase mileage from 10% each week over the next few months. Incorporate long runs. In addition to gradually increasing your weekly months, simulate the physical demands of running 100 miles. It's important to incorporate back-to-back runs. Let's check this out. So based on my stats, am I ready? Based on these stats that are right here, am I ready to run a 100-mile race? Am I ready? Tomorrow. Based on my stats, am I ready to run a 100-mile race tomorrow? Nope. ChatGPT was saying, hell no. Oh, based on your stats, it's difficult to say whether you'll run a 100-mile race tomorrow. While your weekly mileage total distance run, this gets us so impressive, blah, blah, blah. It does what a human does. Start with the positive and then throw some negatives at it. Let's see the negative. Additionally, it's important to keep in mind that running a 100-mile race is a significant physical and mental challenge that requires of dedicated training and preparation. If you're considering running a 100-mile race, it's important to have a well-rounded training plan that includes gradual increases in mileage. It's kind of going around the point. Like, I'm telling it, am I ready to go tomorrow? And then it says, it's basically telling me I need to follow a training plan. I think it's telling me in a fancy way of saying, hell no, you're not ready. You run 40, 50 miles a week and you think you're ready to run tomorrow? That's what it actually says. Well, here we go. Let me get it a little bit more. Is doing 40 to 50 miles a week adequate to run a 100-mile race? Well, ChatGPT, running 40, 50 miles per week can be a good starting point for a training for a 100-mile race, but it's important to know the physical and mental demands of a 100-mile race are significant and require a lot of preparation. In short, it's saying, hell no, you're not ready. You shouldn't be going for 100-mile races. That's what it's telling me, which is true, probably. Although there are some people out there that are animals and could just go for it. It's also important to keep in mind that every runner needs the abilities are unique. And there you go, those are the animals. So the amount of mileage needed to prepare for a 100-mile race can vary. Factors such as age, fitness level, training history, and injury history can all impact how much you need to run. Overall, while riding 40 to 50 miles per week can be a good starting point, training for 100 miles, it's important to gradually increase mileage, incorporating other training strategies to ensure blah, 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 blah. So you gotta read between the lines and it says, hell no, 40, 50 miles a week is just a starting point. You gotta increase that stuff. Increase it. All right. Thanks, ChatGPT, for being my personal coach. Well, basically, so check out ChatGPT, and I'm sorry for yelling. Check out ChatGPT, and you tell me in the comment section what you think about artificial intelligence being your personal coach. Put me in, coach! And if you like this video and you want more stuff like this, please hit the like button, click the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the trails.